I'd like to talk about this performance measurement, the efficiency ratio. It's a relatively new measurement that we take, and it's basically looking at how well are we managing the costs and expenses of doing business. It compares total net revenues received over a period with the operating expenses that it takes to run the organisation for that same period. In the graphic that you've got here, you see we have revenues of $100,000, we have expenses, operating expenses of $75,000, therefore the efficiency ratio is 75%. Now let's just say, for example, that the board determines they have a goal of an efficiency ratio of 50%. Well, the two alternatives are try and do something on the revenue side of this equation or on the expenses side. If you're going to do it on the revenue side of the equation, that means increasing revenues from $100,000 to $150,000. That's a 50% increase in revenues. Very tough to achieve. The alternative is look at it on the expenses side of the equation, and what would be required here is cutting expenses from $75,000 to $50,000, a 33% drop in expenses. Now, as an entire sector, the financial services industry, since we've been measuring this ratio, has found it easier to focus on the management of the expenses, but there is a limit to where you can go with that. If you are going to ensure ongoing viability, we've got to be focused on the revenue side of this equation, because that's the only thing that will sustain us in the future.